How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today's video we're focusing on this tier 10 tank destroyer, the Object 268. I was trying to 3-mark it at the time of recording this video. I have actually 3-marked it since. I was basically going for high damage games, getting as much assistance as possible, and really trying to boost up that marks of excellence percentage towards that 95% mark. Yeah, this game happened out of nowhere. I was really not expecting it. I don't really like this map, and it was kind of one of those scenarios where it actually just all seemed to work together. And then at the end we have some really funny kind of bit of gameplay for you to see. Two tank destroyers fighting it out at the end of the game for the win. It was really fun, and certainly a game where I actually looked back on it and thought, yeah, that was actually a decent one. Really enjoyed it, and you're about to see just why that is. Now, in terms of where we're positioning ourselves on the map is kind of this early position. I tend to go here at the start of games on Sunset Coast, just in order to get maybe 1 shot off or maybe 2 shots off at the start of the game. See how the battle's going, especially in your tank destroyer. I don't sit up here in heavy tanks or anything like that. Maybe only my TDs really, and that's just to enable myself to maintain a decent amount of damage. And when you're going for your third marks, you don't really want to be committing too hard down one flank, at which point you might get overrun by enemies and then you end up just having some terrible games. Obviously we're not trying to do that, and we're focusing on trying to get as much damage as we can as we shut down the T100 LT there for 715 damage. That was a decent kind of amount of damage at the start of the game, and you can see us trying to reposition here to be able to get a shot on the Conqueror. You see that little aim kind of thing that went up then? That's when your consumable actually resupplies, and it's really frustrating when that happens. Absolutely hate that, and I'm surprised Wargaming haven't actually fixed that already, just to have that out of the game. Now, we do try and go after the Batchat there to help our Valor, but unfortunately he already shut him down just as we fired, which means we're going to have to reload a little bit again. Now, in this kind of tank destroyer, when you've got 850 alpha with this big ass gun, then you really want to be putting out the damage as consistently as possible. And when you've got a fairly long reload, you want to make sure that every time you're reloaded, you've positioned yourself in a position to actually fire at the opponent, and therefore you're making the most out of your DPM that you do have. It's kind of one of those where it's actually worked kind of better, in my opinion, having big alpha than having like low alpha and high penetration. Yeah, I find that having this massive alpha actually helps massively with just maintaining a good standing of damage, obviously, because you do more damage per shot. You don't have to put yourselves out in front of the enemy necessarily as often as you would in, say, a medium tank. Now, this game isn't particularly looking great. We've lost the right flank, we've kind of not got any map control, our team haven't moved out of the base, and it's just looking pretty terrible as we plough 1 shot into the side of the E100 there, that German heavy tank. When it goes side on, it pretty much has no armour, and pretty much anything in the game can penetrate it. We put 1 blind there, unfortunately he gets spotted straight after, which is really unfortunate. And yeah, we've missed a few shots here, bit of inaccurate aim, I guess, and not really aiming our shots fully, or just waiting that little second extra where I could have got somewhat more damage overall. Unfortunately that isn't the case, but we certainly get a decent amount of damage by the end of this game anyway, whether or not we do miss those shots. Now, you can see here the 50 TP is poking, we're using our camo, he actually can't spot us until we fire, as we plough 1 into him for 831 damage. Obviously, since the low rolls, you don't actually tend to high roll that often, or even get you a standard roll, to be honest with you, which is really frustrating, I guess, because Wargaming have done this thing where you basically get better accuracy, or you're more likely to get better accuracy now than you did pre 6.0, but you're also more likely to low roll your shots. I think the actual changes in the RNG have gone up from like 25%, 15%, so you're actually like 10% more likely to high roll on penetration, and 10% more likely to get lower amount of damage than your alpha, or your normal alpha, I should say, like the average. Now, this game has got into a real sticky situation, let's say. We've got 10 minutes on the clock. It's 3 versus 7. It's really not looking good. We've got a lot of full health tanks here, as the Type 59 for some reason got a little bit of shit to the brain and he's decided to YOLO. Don't know what he was trying there. I understand that the Cranbang's probably coming from this direction and it's time to really get him out the game. We shut him down with one shot. The E100s are now moving up and we've got a medium to our left. We've got the Jaeger straight in front of us. It's looking like an absolute nightmare. We've got a heavy tank on our team and an artillery. I think the heavy tank is actually AFK, so he's not really that much of a help for us anyway. And it's kind of this situation where it's actually like technically like a 1 versus 5, but it's not actually, because the heavy tank is actually still there. So we won't get a Kolobanov's medal if we actually win this game from this position, but in my mind that's what we're going to be able to get. Now you see the KPZ now, that's quite a strong medium tank at tier 9. That thing can actually deal quite a lot of damage, and it's really essential that we get him out of the game as quickly as possible, as with this 50 TP. We shut him down with an auto-aim. I wouldn't recommend necessarily auto-aiming all of the time, but I was kind of in a bit of a clutch situation. I had my heat round anyway, and I was more than likely going to pen him unless we hit the track. Now, in this situation, what I'm going to do is use my teammate who is AFK's hit points to the best of my ability and focus on targets that I know need to get out of the game as quickly as possible. Now, we do go for the Jaeger because, you know, we need to get him out of the game as quickly as possible, but what we are now going to do is actually focus on the E100 because that has a nice big juicy gun, which if we get hit by him is going to be a nightmare. Now we shut down the E100, the KPZ is still focusing on the tank that's AFK. Now this is what players should really not do. You shouldn't be focusing on the one tank that is AFK. We want to shut down the KPZ as quickly as possible. We don't want to take that shot because we can actually take one from the Jaeger as he comes in at the end of the game. He's there now trying to push us, and it's a battle of the 2 TDs. Like I said, it's yeah, this thing was just ridiculous. So it makes me laugh just seeing 2 non-turreted TDs fighting each other with an artillery trying to hit me as well. The Jaeger for some reason backs up and I auto-aim, which is a misplay right there. We could have dealt another shot of damage to him. I'm trying to make it as difficult as possible for myself apparently. As we pull back, we're reloaded, we put 1 into him, and now what we're going to do is put our track in front of his track, so he can't actually turn. I see what he's trying to do here. What he's trying to do is actually push himself up against the rock, which stops me from being able to do anything to him. But unfortunately for the Jaeger, he just got out-traversed by a 268, and yeah, we shut him down from pretty much full health. I've managed to pick up 9,000 damage so far in this game with the artillery just left alive. You know, that's probably looking at an extra 500 damage for us to pick up possibly, so we don't hit that 10k mark because it's just not possible. Managed to pick up 561 assistance damage and 1500 blocked, which is not actually that bad. It would have left us pretty much on 0 hit points had they all penetrated, but luckily the 268's armour is actually a lot better than that of some of the other Russian TDs at tier 10. I know if you look at the 268 version 5, this thing has way better armour than that. You're not going to be getting automatically penned in the turret with this thing because obviously you don't have one, but you might actually be getting taken out by rounds in the top in these cupolas that you have on top of the 268. But realistically they're a lot harder to hit than that of the 268 version 5, and the actual armour is quite well angled, so you know it's quite annoying to actually shoot one of these if it's wiggling around from its frontal armour. Now you see that what I'm doing with regards to trying to get this artillery, I thought he might be over there in the back corner in K1. I've realised that probably now he's in C1 or B1 up in that top corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stealthy route. I want to use as much foliage in the way between me and the artillery to you know, use my view range, which I'll probably have better view range than him. At least I'm hoping so, unless he obviously set us up with full view range perks and equipment. but I'm taking the chance. So what we're going to do is use all of these bushes to try and sneak up on this guy. I'm going to try and get some high ground, which might provide a better angle on trying to spot this guy who is in the artillery, and we're just going to move down this flank. Now obviously when I'm going for marks, I'm trying to get as much combined assistance damage and also damage at the same time. Probably not going to get that much tracked in this thing just because, you know, you don't actually fire that often, and yeah, it's just better to go for your assistance damage. So putting all of the perks on is the best way to go in my opinion in order to get the most out of the 268. I also put all of the damage perks or reload time perks on, as well as putting on some various different equipment and also crew skills. So making sure that you've fully kitted out this tank so that its DPM is maxed out, and also making sure that you have the best build for spotting is also a thing that I'd recommend in this tank. You see, we picked up 8 kills, 9,500 damage in total. We managed to get a Radley Walters medal, a Devastator, Bruiser, Top Gun, Fire for Effect, Invader medal, no, Defender medal even, Duelist and High Caliber, and obviously we managed to pick up a Mastery badge for this game. We managed to get 10,000 combined damage, which is crazy, to be honest with you, and not that often that you get these 9.5k damage games. It kind of comes around once in a while. It depends on the matchmaker and of course whether the enemy team want to gift you the win in that situation. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. I'm going to be doing plenty more gameplay videos for you guys in the near future, as well as guides, kind of talking through some gameplay so that you can learn the kind of thought process you need to be thinking about when you're playing in game, and also, you know, selecting your targets, which I thought was actually quite a good one for this this game. We did miss a few shots there because I didn't fully aim, or I just rushed them a little bit, which, you know, could have made the game a lot better, or at least secure the win even more than I already did. But yeah, I think it was a good show of what you can do in the 268 as well, and whether you might want to pick it up yourself, it's kind of up to you. This one will kind of give you an example of what the 268 can actually do, and the mobility, and when you compare it to things like the Jaeger, and also if you fire HE rounds in this thing with the equipment where you can swap between your rounds, which I actually have in this thing, is really good for taking out light tanks and mediums as well, with those 1,100 alpha damage HE rounds that this thing does get, 90 penetration on those. Yeah, this thing can be insane. Anyway guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope you check out some more content on the channel that's on screen if you want to, but other than that, I hope you have a nice one. Goodbye.